AShinyObject.
Follow the light. The light is your guide.
Now, before I start reviewing Figure of Cthulhu Crab from wherever the hell, I do have to air out some grievances. She did technically attack Mother Italy. Oh, not out of me. Not the Mozzarella Emporium. Unforgivable. Not the Great Gugot's Walkway. Why? Oh, I know she's muttering something antipost right there, and I did not appreciate this either. Oh, that fat just threw her through the damn garlic bread factory. Oh, you buffet entree mother. Blew that up like an Ocarina of Time boss fight. Ah, that was justice. Alright, cringe joke is done. Let's get into... Get a load of this here sunset colorway crab Cthulhu demon. I really, really dig the colors that they used. Of course I mean both on the toy and in the movie. Come on. The first area that properly grabbed my eye is going to be this here spiky sunset shell. The skittery, flaky yellows that turn into an orange, that turn into a deeper red with some yellow and orange, but most importantly, a nice bruised purple. These colors, of course, will be present on the shell entirely, not just one side. And I really do dig and appreciate that something fantastically. This looks great. And the detailing is a bit disgusting. I'm not really much a fan of sea creatures. Not how they look, not how they smell, and especially not how they taste. But Scylla gal over here? She's a looker. Before we get into the head, I did just want to talk on these membranes over here that are going to keep Scylla's legs kind of in place. I really do think they're painted up very well. The peach skin tone at the center while the rest are this suffocated purple is genuinely really nice. It kind of just gets better once you flip Scylla over and oh dear God. Was somebody watching Gremlins 2 when they designed Scylla? But anyway, yes, that peach skin tone is going to become a lot more obvious. The purple a lot darker, much more bruised looking, and then you're going to have the bottom of Scylla's legs over here, which are just going full suffocation.
No breathing, don't give a you're bleeding.
And what I like about this colorway the most is just that the underside of all of Scylla's legs are actually going to be featuring that darker purple colorway. Some are going to be a lot less obvious than others, but the fact that it is present throughout the most underside of the figure is really commendable work from Hiya. Thank you. The details are disgusting, inspired by nature, I'm sure. And I honestly can't complain about how Scylla looks on the underside. Now, what I can complain about, though, is very minimal. It's a nitpick on my end, but Scylla's eyes are actually non-existent. They're not going to be painted. And while it might have been like that in the movie, I really wish that there was like a vibrant orange or a piercing blue that could really break everything up over here, because I feel like that only would have aided in the figure looking all the better. But we do get a color that is really mostly only present on the face and eyes, so I guess I can't complain too much. Yes, I'm not sure how Scylla goes from grape to blueberry grape to utter grape to banana, but I'm also not sure how something like this would ever exist IRL, so it doesn't matter. Another point of praise is going to be with Scylla's tentacles over here. They are going to be a very thin, rubbery material. They will jiggle about if you mess with them like that, and I especially love that you can actually see the suckers on the undersides of them. And I also really dig that they're kind of like made with a wash of red, so it also kind of comes off a bit visceral and bloody, but all of that kind of goes away when this happens. Yeah, that Cthulhu mouth pussy go hard. Rob, that's lewd and unneeded. Why would you say that? Because that ain't no exhaust pipe. And I guess since we're down here near that orifice, again, I really do like the coloration of everything going on here. And again, I would tell and warn to exercise caution here because you don't want to mess it up. It might be strong. You might be able to hold the entire figure's weight by just holding it by this, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, the only other thing to really talk about are going to be Scylla's limbs, and I'm probably going to communicate everything else that I've been communicating throughout this video. That being, I really like how it looks. The sunset colorway for something that is a Cthulhu head on a spider crab body is something magnificent. Mostly because, hey, this is something that's super garish, ghoulish, the whole 9 yards, but its colors are just so breathtaking. And the detailing on top of it is nothing short of crazy. I would say exercise caution on these legs though, especially when you're posing, as they are very bumpy. very groovy. They will tear into the skin of your hand. They might not cause bloodshed, but they will cause discomfort. That's pretty much it. Oh. Visually, I really don't think Hiya could have done any better with this. Looks fantastic, is a bit gross, got the light rubber tentacles. I'm impressed and I'm happy. So, let's move on over into Scylla at a neutral stance will be standing over 6 inches tall. I'm pretty sure if you bring the legs in, she could stand even taller. Shokugan, limited movie. King, HG, finger puppets, action figure series, Hiya, SH Monster Arts, Kotopakia Super X and Mazer Tank, reaction. Ah, yeah, that was lovely. Now for articulation. Now when it comes to the head, you will be able to look up about that far and then back down. Not really all that far at all. In fact, looking down is more of a neutral stance for Scylla, and there will be a light rocking from side to side. Looking at the inside of Scylla's shell over here, you can kind of tell that her neck piece is probably on 2 peg joints that follow a track on the inside of her body. I say this because when you get the figure, her neck is like stuck all the way back into her shell. I'm not pushing it back any further because it was a bitch just to get it like that. I would definitely recommend a hairdryer treatment for this. And make sure when you flip her over on the underside, her neck looks like this and not like this, because if it's like that, you still have a couple of inches to go. The head should move a lot like this. At the side of Scylla's body, we are going to see her legs, and her legs are going to be attached via ball joint. Useful, you might think. And they are, somewhat, until you see that some movements will lead to possible membrane tearing. I'm not sure if this was an issue directly out of the box or if I caused it, but let that be a lesson to anybody. Don't get too crazy with these ball joints. Not like they do much of anything anyway, because these membranes kind of hold them in place. Granted, of course, they are going to move up and down, and I guess they can go from side to side and such, but again, it really doesn't do anything when you got the membrane in there. Now, that is, of course, screen accurate, and I don't see how Hiya could have done this with just plastic pieces, so it is what it is. And in all honesty, these ball joints feel more like support for poses than they do, you can only get a pose if you use this. Now, with the Subnautica knee over here, you will be able to bend out about that far, give it a good point, and then you could bring it right back in nice and tight. At this distinct and defined nodule, you will be able to get a bend. Now, when you get this gal out of the box for the first time, you will see that, yeah, this is a ball joint. It's one of those hinge swivel things. And no, don't worry, that's not a crack. And you might feel obligated to give this knuckle a swivel to the left and a swivel to the right. The only reason I got this to move like this is because I hit it with the heat of 1,000 Suns, great album by Linkin Park. But unfortunately, not all the legs cooperate in the same way. Because when you give it a good turn, you get a lot of friction. You get that feeling as if, hey, if I push this any further, I'm going to break it. And I don't like breaking my figures. I hit all of these legs with heat. I tried my best, but it was getting to a point where it just wasn't feeling like it was gonna happen. And ow, look at my fucking, just because I'm trying to do this. So I would say maybe don't push your luck because it will break. But for those experienced people, if you find a way to get this going, if at all, please let me know. Because as of right now, only the front legs will swivel, and this one likes to be a jerk off about it. It's more so this one. Look at that. I mean, granted, I don't know how much this would actually affect articulation and posability, but it's a thing. Anyway, at the pointed tip over here, you can bend all the way in and then all the way out. Meaning Scylla has 2 or 3 effective stances she can take. I'm just going for a stroll. Someone please call John Goodman, and stuffed in a locker. Which is all very much effective and everything that it needs to be, but I do have one complaint, and that is, I wish this came with a stand. Now, as you can see throughout the entirety of the video, Scylla is very much capable of standing on the tips of her leggy tip fucks, whatever you want to call them. Yes, that is possible. It is not impossible, and it does make for a nice display. Of course, you just gotta, you know, not pose it on this silver platter motherfucker that I'm using. But it does make me worried that the tips of her legs are going to warp over time or become damaged. So I kind of like posing her with her tips kind of bent in like this. You're still going to get that it's a crab spider look on your shelf, and you're not going to damage the tips of her legs. But that's completely up to you, and I'm sure many of you out there have a stand that can accommodate for something like this. Again, I just wish that Scylla came with a stand, or maybe even an accessory of that silk that she was spitting in Mother Italy. But enough about that. How about... So since the articulation was so simple, I like to think that posability is just as simple. A non-flat-footed, multi-legged kaiju kinda forces you to get a little creative with what you can and can't do. And I really do think the multi-legs, the very spindly look, the Cthulhu mouth pussy, the whole 9 yards, it's just a lot of fun after you get used to the fact that this thing is going to have to stand without a stand. And that will remain my biggest critique of this here release. I really do wish it came with a posable stand so Scylla didn't have to stand on those pointed parts of her legs. Definitely something to look into for a possible bloodied version, or a box full of Scylla limbs and call it a figure version. I don't know. I think it's quite good for what it is, and considering we're likely only going to get this in the Playmates version, I ain't mad, I'm happy, I like it. It does what it needs to. Scylla is a lovely figure from that of Hiya Toys. I think Hiya did just about as much as anybody could really do with something that is 90% leg and 10% body/head. I've been Shinrobjira. I'll see you all at some point during the week with something else, I imagine, and I hope you all have a lovely start to your week. Peace.